and comes and does this, yeah, and lives far away somewhere outside of Canada and takes all your taxes. So the real queen, Romana, is returning all taxes, removing all borders, and we're only going to have one tax, and that is the national tax of flat 10% on your luxury items and exempt items. And your home will only be taxed once when it's brand new. No tax on resale and all of that stuff. So, and free utilities. Anything that comes off the ground belongs to we the people and should be free to we the people of Canada. Yes?
That's right.
That's right. And
NB Power is not calling no more.
sorry,
NB Power is not calling no more.
we don't have any. Sorry.
NB Power is not calling no more.
MP Power.
Brunswick.
Oh yes. And we're going to be nationalizing all of these power, blah 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 blah, yada 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 yada. And so it belongs to we the people, as it should be, especially our water. Many of you may not have realized that our water was sold to Nestle and other corporations and have been shipped from Canada abroad and then bottled, labeled, and shipped back. So that's what has been done to not only Canada but other countries around the world. And if you guys were paying attention to my posts regarding Ukraine and Russia, you can tell that the United States is following my lead. And this morning, my team was privileged to see that I said to the United States Armed Forces Commander-in-Chief, we are not going to war. There is not going to be any war. We are staying out of Ukraine, and we are not going to be joining any wars. So that's why you guys see that NATO alliance has backed off from Ukraine. I have also made it clear that we have endorsed Russia's special operation in Ukraine. So we are getting rid of the deep state government of Ukraine. So this is the information that you won't get from the mainstream media. And they are, obviously, as I said, they're wanting to start a war and blame it on Russia. I have repeatedly said Russia is not our enemy, but is a friend and is liberating Ukraine. Also, many of you may not have realized that Ukraine is going back to Russia when it used to be USSR. Okay?
What do you think of the price of the gas around here?
We're working on lowering that gas. I said already that we should start pumping all of our all of our machines in Alberta, Saskatchewan, all over the place, until I said we're paying 50 cents a liter. Yes? So we are going to use all of the resources and that is meant for the we the people, and that we're going to kick a lot of people out of here, and not only people, but their companies. Yes? Okay. There's also, this news is going to perhaps surprise or not surprise you, but we are also going to reduce the super inflated prices of our homes. Many of you may have followed my post saying that we are going to reduce it back to 1950s price. So that means all of the property prices will go down. In fact, from our calculation, it will go down to where it is from 100% down to 5 to 8%. Yes, that's the 1955 price, yes? And of course, all of your commodities and all other prices will go down along with that as well, right? Because apparently the only way that the experts can lower the rents and prices is to keep on going. They haven't met Queen Romana, of course. So we are going to make all of those changes. Many of you may have read also the 55 different degrees that I have, royal decrees that I have issued, basically removing all of the shackles put by the corporation government. And our children will eventually and finally be free from all the taxes that they have put on every child before the child is even born. Okay, so that's that.
Yes, save our children.
And for the children, and I have also said that there is no more politics and no more politicians.
The crowd goes wild.
Because all this time, since 1867, many of you may have realized that both the Liberal and the Conservative were formed. The same year, Canada was also formed. Any guesses why? Because one was to serve as the government, one was to serve as the opposition. Their shenanigans to keep their their gong show in Parliament. Their deception and their illusion, giving you the illusion that you had a choice when you really didn't, because they controlled both parties. And of course, they added the the NDP, PPC, and all other Green Party, but they're all the same. Five stripes, the same zebra. Yes. So
They don't represent the people.
exactly. So there is not going to be any elections anytime soon. And for our provinces and territories, we are going to have, you know what? We're only going to have between 3 to 5 project managers. So you guys will identify the projects that you want. We will have a project manager in your province, and they're going to be the one responsible to work with you guys to make sure your projects is run on time, on budget, and it's for the community.
All come together.
As a cooperation.
No middle person, no debating in the House of Commons, nothing. It's we the people needs water pipeline, they will get the water pipeline.
Yes.
And today, not
Yes.
30 years from now. Yes? So that's what our biggest projects are going to be. Housing for our people, the water pipelines that has been there for 30 years. Some of our indigenous people have been living with the boiling water for the last 30 years or so. Okay? And also many of you may realize that our indigenous communities have not been immune to corruption. So, in this case, we the people will be equal to our indigenous people.
Yes.
Okay? So whatever we the people receive in terms of all of our utilities will be the same with our indigenous people, especially in their reserves. There is not, as I said, I don't play politics, so there is not going to be indigenous chiefs or whomsoever in between me and we the people. Okay? So this is a major change in Canada, a long time coming.
Yes.
And this is where we're going to put our our money, where our mouth is. Right? Because this is by far, many of you may not have realized that I have been working undercover since I arrived in Canada. My family has groomed me to work, but of course I had to do the live the double life, you know, in the basement somewhere, and while working, liberating the Canadian people with, thank you kindly, with the, where's my water taste? I'm kidding! That's where's my water? No, I'm kidding. This is a big issue actually in the RV. It's like, okay, don't touch Queen's food. Stay away from the coffee. Thank you. So, yeah, this is the change that we're gonna have. Is basically no more politics, no more of the nonsense, and
No more bullshit.
exactly no more bullshit. And the most important part is that we won't have politics anymore. Okay, so it's direct access. We the people have direct access to their queen, and we are going to make changes. I have said to the Commander-in-Chief in the United States, you're going to follow Canada, and you're going to follow Canada, and you're going to follow Canada.
No more big pharma?
No more big pharma. We are
Med beds?
replacing that with our med beds.
When?
Our med beds are actually now under control of our military, but because it is of sensitive technology, we want to make sure that it doesn't get into the wrong hands. Because this technology has been around for a long time, but was suppressed and was kept, well, it was in the hands of the wrong people. So one of my spiritual contract, I said that I will take the responsibility for Canada and the world to make sure that the medbeds doesn't get commercialized, monetized, like many other leaders before who have taken responsibility for it but ended up making money out of it. So that is why I said in Canada, medbeds is free to everyone and anyone who needs it. And no one will be allowed to make money out of the medbeds technology, at least in Canada. That's the big change. One thing that I had taken oath with the big guys up there is making sure that humanity this time around receives the gift given to humanity. Perhaps the challenge with humanity has been that every time we had technologies is that we monetized it first before giving it to the we the people. So I'm reversing that, giving it to the we the people before anybody else can monetize it. So,
Beautiful.
Yes.
okay?
Beautiful.
So that is my sacred oath to the ones up there that can easily go me if I do something wrong with the medbeds and our replicator technologies. So our replicator will help us to replicate anonymous things and food, and so I guess they'll have a library of whatever food is available from around the world, all the menus that they can come up with, and it can be replicated. But it is really to not so much as a luxury, but to eliminate poverty. Yes? Okay? So that's what it is. And we are privileged that I was granted the honor and responsibility to roll out both the medbeds and our replicators in Canada, and to show the world what leadership should be and how a real queen or a monarch should be taking care of her people instead of robbing her people with all of their resources.
And eating our children.
Yes, exactly, right, even our children. So that is one thing. Some people are triggered by the word queen, and I try to explain that there's a big difference between a real benevolent royal families versus those put by the bankers for their profits. The real ancient royalties teachings has to do with making sure whoever is the monarch, sitting monarch, the responsibility of that individual as a queen or king is to take care of the people and to make sure their well-being is first and foremost in their health, and that is the true wealth of the monarch of that country.
What about
Is
the elderly,
when the
the old people?
yes, exactly. So the
That's what is
well-being,
elderly.
the well-being of our people, children, all the way to seniors, that is the wealth of the monarch, rather than the number of palaces or how many vacation homes they have or aircrafts they have. So that is the difference between someone who was put there to keep the gong show versus one from birth and taught to take care of her people and country. So that is where I come from. And earlier, actually, this evening, when we were getting late, I was saying to my people, you know what my pet peeves is? Making the people wait. Yes, and then after that I said, and I just sounded like my grandmother. Yes, because that was her pet peeves was, just because you are royalty, it doesn't mean that you should disrespect people's time. Yes, and I recognize that you guys have come from all over the city and have traveled and waited. So I was giving these guys hard time. Yep, they do. They do get it.
What's the time span, do you think, with the med beds and the replicator?
Our med beds is already here. It's just we have to make sure that the deep state operatives are all
Gone.
on get mode.
Yeah.
And get mode, the term, right? And then we roll
Release
roll
them.
it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, our military will roll that, and that's why I am changing the narratives, because had I been listening to the narratives, I was looking at, I go, okay, if we're going to continue this drip, 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 this is gonna take years.
Yeah.
So I said, no, I'm changing that narrative. So I'm going to Ottawa and doing this stuff, and then here we go. Yeah.
Thank you for all your hard work
Yes.
and
So-
being there for the people.
Yes, and making sure that the nonsense in Ottawa ended.
I help back. I help back, I'll help you do that.
Yes.
I'll let that go, I mean, the gentleman over here.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have it going. Nothing but good.
Thank you.
Good water. Thank you. Yes. So that's why I came, to make sure that the public realizes that they have a true and real leader who is actually working for them and with them to make sure that all of the nonsense ends and that our military is busy actually arresting the deep state operatives. Many of you may not have realized that some of the personalities you see on TV are CGIs and actors. Some are there because while I am doing the transition of our government, we have to sort of keep them there, and then I'll go, you're done. That's why they're there. That's why some of them are still there, okay? Because we are putting together as quickly as possible our team in each province. So that's why I'm
Nice.
also going province to province, territory to territory, to meet you guys because to ask you to be one of our coordinators, project coordinators. So that is that, and I would need 3 to 5 depending on how big the province is, and that individual will be the one working with my office to make sure your projects here gets done. That's as I've said, there is no middle person, there's no debating. When there's a project identified, it will get done, and that's your coordinator. That's your point person here, whoever that is going to be. Okay?
Does that include our humanitarian projects?
Sorry?
Does that include our humanitarian?
Absolutely, yes. Yes. So all of your humanitarian projects, I'm sure you guys, some of you may have watched someone who tried to give me a money in Quebec, a significant amount. However, he wanted to control your government.
Yeah.
And I said, no. He said, I will give you this, and I would like you to provide a trustee, but I will direct the trusts and all the projects. And then I said, thank you, but no thank you. Yeah? So, that was a video. Very slick, daytime, what should I say? Daytime.
He wasn't slick, he wasn't even
It
smart,
wasn't
you caught him right away.
So I smiled and I said, thank you, but no thank you. I graciously, you can go do your humanitarian project, but there is conflict of interest because there is, you're wanting to give us funds, but you want to direct everything, which means you get to tell the Queen what to do. And that's not going to happen, not in my watch. Yes. So I have declined that substantial gift of cash, or whatever that was. But yeah, that was a substantial gift according to him. So, but I'm sure his intention was in the right place. It's just he didn't realize that we do things differently now that Queen Romana is in charge.
Thank,
Yes?
thank,
So,
thank.
because if he had that amount of money as a Canadian, then everybody else would have the same amount of money,
Yeah.
right? So everyone can do their humanitarian work.
Yeah.
And as I said, everyone, I would like all Canadians to be as wealthy as possible so that I don't have to worry about you guys. Because I was taught that my responsibility as your queen is to take care of you. But when you're all rich, guess what? You guys are going to be helping one another, so I don't have to worry. That's why I want you all to be rich, right? So, there you go. That's how it's going to be done.
You're awesome.
So, and so that was...
chess player you are.
Sorry?
A 5D chess player you
10,
are.
darling, 10. Actually 21, I just lowered to 10. Because, some people might feel uncomfortable with that one.
Yes,
Yeah. Right?
intimidated,
So, yeah. So that was an interesting experience I had in Quebec, with someone openly, broad daylight, saying here's the money, but I would like to tell you what to do and what kind of projects you're
Yeah.
going to. Right. So I'm just like, okay, well, I graciously not happening. So,
Hey, you're getting a lot of attention. Can I use your attention to push my own agenda?
exactly. So, but I think that's some people were used to that kind of work, and as I said, they didn't realize that Queen Romana's in charge and things are done differently.
Yes.
So, anyhow. Is there a burning question that you guys wanted to ask
I got
of me?
one. What will Medbed do for me and my brother?
From what I understand, it will correct any malfunctions, any neurological deficiencies that you may have, and to
That one, got it.
yes.
We'll be able to jog down the road.
So
We'll
it
be
will,
running down the street, brother, that's it.
so it will restore your body back to its natural condition.
Where it should be.
Hear about that song.
Oh, I can't wait.
New roads.
I can't wait. I can't wait to go in. Tim Hortons, here's my coffee.
I'm sorry.
Kind of a timeline.
If it were in my timeline, if the med beds were to be right now in my timeline, I would have him there, here now. Actually, we have them here now, under the military's protection. We are, I mentioned earlier that because we still have the piececitos at the lower level, right? Especially our hospitals. So we are making sure that that level are removed, and then we replace all of the technologies there with med beds. So, and so we have that here already. That's why I keep on, even as far as, or even as late as this morning, I said to our allied forces to continue the mass arrests, because all of this hoopla in the mainstream media is to cover up the fact that the piececitos are being arrested across the country. And you know, I've noticed that I make an announcement, and then 2 days later they make an announcement, and then I say, then I come back and say, you have no authorization to be doing anything, and then they remove their whatever, you know, all of their nonsense, right? So, and that's what's happening right now, is they are trying to cover up the fact that the piececitos are being removed, and you have noticed that some of your provinces have removed their restrictions.
Yes.
And
Has Dominic Cardi been removed? Do you know?
I will say this.
Because he hasn't been around for this.
I will say this, that the real arrest has been done.
Yes.
This public arrest is just for we the people to see.
Yes.
But all the piececitos are gitmo. So remember that the actors and actresses that are playing their part still, they're there until we put together the transition and complete the transition, and then I'm there.
Hi. Will that be when the EBS is released? If there is one.
Oh wait, I gotta see the face.
Still looking for EBS.
No,
I
I
came
don't
to
know.
Ottawa. Okay, so this is one thing. I know that some of you guys who have been following certain groups or certain truthers kept on saying EBS will happen this way, right? And that has been compartmentalized somehow, and everyone keeps on expecting that. I have changed the EBS. Okay, because the timeline of that EBS was so far away with all the drip, drip, drip. And when I looked at across Canada and people just marching and getting their jabs, that I said, this is not happening. So that's why I came to Ottawa, did the changes, and now even I changed the narratives around the world with the Ukraine, with Russia, and all of that stuff, all the way in Europe, and even Asia and Africa. So in terms of your EBS, number one was when I burned the corporation flag.
Yes.
Many people didn't realize that when I burned the corporation flag, that was to signify, not to disrespect the people and our military, but that was to signify the ending of the corporation. That was that.
Yes.
Yes.
How did you get your position?
Well, my ancestors, my families has been working with the white hats and the benevolent royal families for centuries. And many of us had to go underground while we tried to help and liberate humanity. Like me, I had to go and do mundane jobs, even cleaning in at construction sites. I had to work at restaurants. I had to work at in retail. Meanwhile, I was working with the white hats and the benevolent beings and royal families around the world who wanted to liberate humanity, because many royal families also were oppressed by the bankers. So I was let me just say, ever since I was this tiny, I was groomed to do what I am doing now. And that is why when I explained the difference between what a benevolent royal family does or do versus someone who had nothing, no empathy or no sense of humanity, was put by the bankers to do their shenanigans and to continue to enslave humanity. So that's how I got my position, I've been working since I was an infant, working for humanity and with their blessings, and of course my work, the military around the world, and that's how I came to.
I'm sorry about the other people around here who don't believe in you. Believe what's going on, I wish they would wake up.
That's correct, yes.
There's so much to do, and I have so much fun doing it.
Yes.
I have a question. Who are they?
Benevolent beings, the celestial beings, the beings who have gifted. They are evolved humans. Many are evolved humans, very evolved. They have existed before planet Earth was given the gift of life. Yes. And so over there, up there, you have to earn your role on planet Earth. And they are very strict. They can read your minds, your thoughts, your intentions before anything else. And if there is a slight, I guess, if there's something wrong with your bloodline, and anything to do with oppressing humanity, then they say, no, you don't qualify for the job, and they find someone else. And in some cases, someone had deviated from his work and was removed. So, and that's why many of you will notice that some of my videos, majority of my videos, I point out, because it's their guidance. I ask for their guidance and recognize that there's higher beings, benevolent beings, that guide my work.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Last question.
Last question.
We all know that the law, statutory law, is quite corrupt. We're, I'm sure, going to be evolving from the current law system into something much more compassionate and benevolent.
Our laws now in Canada, one law, natural law. What applies to you applies to me, and it cannot be changed. It cannot be changed from community to community. It is the same in all communities. That's natural law.
Queen Romana,
Yes.
you're standing in New Brunswick's natural law office right here.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how I manifest all these things? So, yes. So natural law, no monarchs, no whatsoever, and as I said, the laws applies to everyone, and whether I am your queen or what have you, what applies to you applies to me, and that's how we are going to move forward.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you for.
How will everybody know about you?
Amazingly enough, the world actually knows of me.
Yes,
Yes.
they do.
My work prior to my being or having come out, that didn't sound so right, having come out, having announced my position in Canada back in 2021, my work, my humanitarian work around the world, actually with my family, providing humanitarian projects for free and not asking for 1 penny back or investments, provided that it was everything given to the Uyghur people for that area. So that work actually has had my name known around the world.
Yes.
And now, even though the mainstream media in Canada have suppressed the information about me, the whole world actually knows of me. That is why even President Putin was playing "Oh Canada" to honor your queen. So,
Thank you for your service to me.
yes. So,
Thank you for saving Canada.
shall I say, it's all in Century's work. It didn't take just one day, it's all in the Century's work. And honestly, it was part of my spiritual contract. And I said, okay, I'll do the job as long as you put there she can dance. Because this hard work of meeting all different people and doing all our projects, you gotta have fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Dancing is is essential.
Get the music going.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. So that's overall, that is where we are going. We are going to have at least 3 to 5 different project coordinators to make sure our projects gets done on time and on budget, and no nonsense. Many of you may have noticed that when there was flooding in BC, it's unusual, or actually it wasn't heard of, that a province would receive 5 billion in funding. And well, they did receive, because I said between 5 to 7 billion, and 5 billion was released to British Columbia. And they also said that the fixing of the bridges and the highways was going to take at least 2 to 3 years. And I said, you have 30 days.
Yeah.
So
We have nice,
that was
we
done.
have nice highways here, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Potholes. Lots of
Just
potholes.
make sure the shots are all right.
So,
It's just to make sure you don't fall asleep.
so British Columbia did receive their funding. Many said BC or other provinces never had 5 billion of funding for any reason before, maybe. And so I said, well, it's needed, and that's what we're going to give to them. Yes, and of course there's that 2 billion extension. So,
Amazing.
and they were wondering who was in control of the treasury. Sorry?
Is it true the White House and the Parliament buildings are going to be blown up?
Well, I will tell you this. The White House honored your queen with the red, white,
And purple?
blue, my scarf, and then the purple, yes. Because that day when I burnt the flag, remember, I was wearing the white jacket and the Tiffany scarf, and then the purple flag, of course. So they honored. Yeah. As far as the White House being destroyed, I was informed that is one of the buildings that will receive a special gift. I have also said to our team, they like to blow up stuff. I said, you can blow up all of the legislature buildings in Canada. I don't know if they will do it, but I said, if you feel like it, you have my permission to do it. Yes? Otherwise, we can turn it into a med-bed center.
There you go.
There you go, right? Why not?
Shelter or.
Exactly,
Is
yes.
that what you're gonna do with the hospitals, turn them into med bed?
Correct,
Oh, got it.
yes.
I'll be working there.
Yes, and also our ambulances will be turned into mobile med beds facilities so that our remote communities far away, the ambulance will
access.
go there and we'll have access to them.
So who's gonna be responsible for the training?
Our military
I'm a
and,
nurse, I wanna do that.
and the,
And I'm,
up there. So it's done by them and with the military.
Yes.
So it's
I wanna
highly
go there.
controlled.
I wanna go there.
I'm ready to be now.
Beam me up,
I
Scott.
lost my job as a nurse, so I wanna do it.
Yep.
Were the UN troops that came in to
They-
Ottawa, were they the good guys?
Yes, the UN troops I had mentioned before, that UN is now part of our alliance and that they are under our control. And so when you see UN aircrafts and even aircrafts that no longer have a flag and or vehicles, they belong to us. And that means we, Romana, they report to QR. Yes?
Ma'am,
QR is fine.
would teleportation be modes of transportation in Aircon 1?
That is the possibility at the moment. I believe that will come after our med beds because the teleportation technology requires your DNA signature. So when you have a, let's just say, not complete DNA, then you won't be able to use the transportation, that technology. So med beds first to fix everyone's DNA, and then teleportation technology. Beam me up, Scotty.
People that have got the jab, will the med beds correct that?
Yes, the med beds will correct that. Also, those jabs, they are nanotechnology, so the signal can be shut down. Yes.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
It's huge.
So that's one thing that many people didn't realize, is that we can shut down the signal of the nanotechnologies. That's what they've been injecting
Yes.
into people.
So the 5G won't be activated.
5G does.
No.
So,
What to say?
I have had it shut down, and I had said that even our aircrafts, especially the airports, can only use the 4G because 5G interferes with the landing of all our aircrafts, and also because of the jabs. So that was shut down. The United States actually followed my lead on that because they were still dealing with their 5G. And then they said, well, actually Canada did this already. So, yes, so the US is learning and catching up very quickly. But now apparently some Americans also do not want politics in the US, so they're asking me to be their queen also. So I said,
One nation.
you guys decide, and if your states or how many states would like to join Canada, I will ask the Canadian people. We'll have a referendum, and you guys decide whether you want that particular state to join Canada. Because they said, is Canada joining the US? I said, no. But you can join Canada. Because Canada first, remember? Yeah! It's Canada first for a reason.
I have another question.
Okay.
Are they gonna get rid of the US-Canadian borders?
My agreement, or pre-agreement, we are brothers and sisters. So I said, you know, that passport thing really doesn't look so nice when you're brothers and sisters, so we might have to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yep. Like before, it was just a driver's license.
just
Yeah, when I was
through.
growing up, it was just driver's license.
Yeah.
Some just like waved us through. Right? That was that.
Yeah.
But we are going to fix that after they have dealt with their immigration, because as you know, they're flooded with many
Yes.
people coming from different countries. So we don't want
That.
that in here. And that is why you guys may have noticed that I've been singling out Quebec, there's certain borders, right? And I had said that if you came to Canada using false pretenses, start packing. Yep, because we have our military aircrafts and I won't hesitate to use it to send you back. So, I'm all for the, welcoming everyone, but guess what? Don't be jumping the line.
Princess Diana alive?
Sorry?
Princess Diana alive? Are you allowed to say that?
I'm gonna have to borrow the CIA's phrase. I can tell you, but then I'll have to kill you.
I was a pen pal with Princess Di when I was 10 years old.
Yes?
And he got a letter from her.
After she died?
Yeah.
No,
Sorry?
before she died.
Before she died.
The top of the letter had a crown in red, and it was signed by her lady in waiting.
Mhm. Excellent. But I still won't answer whether she's alive or not.
But do you know, yes or no?
I just said, I still won't answer.
Are most publicly traded companies that you guys work with are going to be worthless? Like, we should.
Are you speaking of the top 500 most traded
Yeah,
corporations? Well, they are being eliminated, and you can see that the stock market is being collapsed.
Yeah.
Yes, we are
What about
collapsing it.
Cash
It's
in the banks.
In Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin is going down. That's why I said that we are not going to have Bitcoin in Canada. I said that from the beginning.
Is Elon Musk?
And maybe someone already asked this, I'm not sure, but I'm wondering what's gonna happen with the doctors who have refused to acknowledge the damage that has been done to their patients and to the people with
Jab.
these jabs restrictions.
They will have to face Nuremberg.
Nuremberg trials, yeah.
Yep. So they'll have their due process, but Nuremberg it is because of the natural law.
Yes.
They did the burn.
Yeah.
I would love to know how you pronounce the indigenous saying at the bottom. Would you say that for us?
Hishiminito Osakin.
Yes, how do you say it?
Yes. Hishiminito Osakin. Which is a translation, direct translation from Ojibwe, meaning Great Spirit loves you. Because they don't have God, so it's Great Spirit loves you. Yes. It's Ojibwe. Many of you may have not realized that Ojibwe was the largest tribe in North America, or in Canada actually, before the Europeans came. So that is why I honored our indigenous peoples. And my title as Queen of Canada and President of Canada and Head of State of Canada and everything else to do with the Kingdom of Canada, they put there as an indigenous of Canada.
We're so blessed to have you.
Thank you. Yes. So, but that's my contract, spiritual contract, is to liberate Canada and Canadians and humanity. I ask of nothing else but the cooperation of we the people in Canada and around the world so that our spiritual ascent can continue. Because we have been oppressed, humanity has been oppressed. And politics helped that, and religion also helped that.
What?
As I had said, that humans have actively participated in hating themselves, oppressing themselves, and dividing themselves via religion and politics. So that is why I said, we're not gonna have that in Canada.
What can we, the people, do to help you?
What can you do to help me is to, number one, make sure you ask everyone around you to stop following these nonsense about the COVID, because I have already lifted it. Number two is to identify projects in your community, especially housing, so major infrastructure projects that you guys need, and of course, identify areas where we can put your med beds, because you guys are going to be responsible for the med beds. So you start planning where we can have a centralized location, accessible 24 hours. It will be guarded by the military, but to make sure, because as I said, we are going to have all of our, 38 million people use the med beds, whoever needs it. After that, I have invited our brothers and sisters, the veterans from the US, and there's 19 million of them, right? So it's gonna be busy, and so they will come, the military, or the veterans will come and use that after Canada has used it.
What size of a building are they looking at for med beds? And how many med beds are they looking at?
I have asked to give to us as many med beds as each country is allowed based on the number of population. So I would like as many med beds in your community as possible, so that we can all heal and participate. Yeah. So in terms of the size of the building, I guess your parliament or legislature will do that size. Plus it will be access, right? Because we would need, we would have a treatment center, and then the recovery center, and then the area where people, when they're waiting to use the med beds, right? Because some people would only be in it for 15 minutes, some half an hour. It depends on what they need fixing, yeah? So we will need recovery and waiting areas for them.
So don't be in the legislature, maybe we'll use that for med beds.
That's what I'm thinking, exactly. And it'll be 24 hours a day, so.
Wow.
And I had said we are going to start with 24 hours a day operation to make sure everyone gets to use it, and so that our people get to participate and have a life.
This is so beautiful.
Yeah. So,
It would be so nice when children without limbs and children with cancer and autism and
so can you
neurological
imagine?
No more
Down
chemo,
syndrome.
no more
And
radiation.
even people that have drinking issues or love alcohol, guess what happens?
Really?
Med beds cannot take that.
Yeah,
And
because of
cigarettes also.
the addiction of drugs.
Addiction will be fixed. Alcoholism will be fixed.
Supporting our children.
So don't be surprised if all of a sudden I have a royal decree that says alcohol is no longer allowed in Canada.
It's okay.
Because our med beds.
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome.
That's what it'll be.
Now, me and my brother
Yep.
was born with CP cerebellum.
Yep.
Okay, you know what that is? The cerebellum and the cord that we were born with was cut off. The air was cut off.
So
And that's what I'm getting at. Will the med beds help cure that?
yes, it
Okay.
will realign whatever it is that's missing and bring. If you were missing a particular,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
then it will create one as a human being. They will use that signature as a human being and then perfectly create you as an individual.
Oh man, I can't wait to get in that.
So
I
that's,
can't wait to
that's
get in
what
that,
it is
and I'm
that
being
because
honest.
they have a pattern of what a human being would look like, would have, right, and all the organs.
I'll be on my
Right?
feet.
So they will, yeah, it's wonderful.
I'll be running the streets. I won't be walking the streets. And if I get a car, look out.
We have flying cars coming, eh? Sorry.
We can use churches for the med bed.
So we use churches for the med beds. I'd prefer not to be involved with any churches. So, yes.
Good.
I don't play politics, you see. I'm allergic to that.
What about clinic? Clinic?
Abandon the churches.
Our community centers, we will use, even our schools. I had mentioned that in our schools where children, obviously, we can put med beds where they have nursing station usually, right? So, yeah.
Can they fix it like a lung?
Yes.
Do you have cancer and stuff? Like a half a lung?
Yep.
No?
Yeah, if you have half a lung, they will actually grow a lung for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what about like Parkinson's systems and stuff?
Sorry?
Parkinson's systems and stuff.
Everything it will be fixed. Anything that is naturally of human.
When are they coming? I gotta get started.
I know. That is why I came. I went to Ottawa and I said, no more of this nonsense, all this drip, 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 nothing. So we're going to speed up the timeline.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So
Thank you.
martial law is coming into each city and town to clean up the corrupt.
Martial law is in effect. I've declared that February 5th. So we are in effect. I said we're not going to see boots on the ground unless there is violence. But martial law is also being used to do mass arrests. The insufficiently stimulated minds didn't realize that Queen Romana declared martial law for a reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
The patriot.
Yep. So that's what it is. So that will continue until everyone has been gitmoed and that transition.
Clean up the swamp.
Yeah, the swamp is clean and we are fully in place. And of course, that's when also the actors and actresses, crisis actors and
Right.
CGIs also will then go. Yeah.
Awesome. Such a beautiful thing.
I noticed our finance minister was malfunctioning a little bit.
Yes, because I said, you have to make these guys look malfunctioning so people can actually see. And so you'll see these robots and clones malfunctioning, yeah. Yes,
Now-
because I said it wasn't so obvious. I said you have to make it obvious to the people, especially, Canadians are.
Yeah. So we're heading into the quantum financial system and the quantum educational system,
Yeah, we
and
are.
it's all in place. And
Right now, the QFS system has been running side by side. Yes, as we are, shall we say, disabling the old system, the QFS system has been running simultaneously. So it's there. So don't worry when all of a sudden you hear the banks are frozen. There's a system there in place.
and they're all backed by gold.
Yep.
You don't lose any of your money.
Oh, you don't lose anything, nope.
Okay.
So. Okay? Devolution. Yep.
Do you have a timeline for the med beds?
I answered that earlier.
Sometimes I couldn't hear what you were saying,
Okay.
sorry.
I said that the med beds are already here. We're just waiting to make sure that the picecitos especially in the hospitals,
Right.
trying to kill people, are out and cleared, and then we are going to replace all of the old system that they have. So, but the training is being done by the military and the celestial beings. And they determine who goes into that training, because they can see the intentions of individuals.
Right.
They have that technology. They can tell if an individual is faking it and intends to harm or will harm people in the future. Yes. So scary as it is, there is that technology that enables them to determine who is pure and who's not pure.
It's amazing.
Are you hungry?
Starving.
Great question. Yeah. Shall we get the music going and the food out?
Veggies and
Thank you.
fruit out. So, okay, this
Well, you're so patient to wait.
Have to. I mean, I could keep listening.